Do you have a day where you think back and go, yeah, that was the happiest in my life? Well, today's that day for me, because I get to do something that, you never think you'd be able to do. It's one of those things that are so just, out there that you enjoy, but not everyone seems to get. And that for me is the subject matter of Kevin James. Obviously, he's been floating, his stock images of him have been floating around on Twitter, which is, it's made my day. Finally, Twitter's actually good for once. It'll be gone in a week, but it's one of those things that you get a fleeting feeling of, and you just kind of hold on to it as long as you can, and that's what I'm doing. So Kevin James has been a bit of a staple on and off on this channel for a very long time, and I don't know what the reason for that is. I think it's just, he seems like someone you'd want to hang out with, and also he's been in like movies that are like enjoyable and really fun, and I think that also adds to the allure of a man like Kevin James. Obviously there's been a lot of images floating around of him on Twitter, and the most, I think, famous one at the moment is the one where he's kind of standing in the kitchen, kind of going, and everyone's been putting little captions over mainly that one, but there's a few others floating around out there that are pretty popular. And I think the favourite one of mine that I found was when the bartender asked me if I want my 11th beer. Where humour doesn't get better than that. It's too good. And I was thinking to myself, why don't I, as a Kevin James lover myself, why don't I do something along the lines of Kevin James and images of him? So I looked up Kevin James stock images and I found 47,000. But I decided just to pick a few. I've decided to pick about 19. So we've got Kevin Classic, A Blart Spectacular, Go Kevin Go, Can Do Better Kevin, and Pixels. Alright, I won't waffle on for any longer. I'm really excited. I'm like a person who gets excited, I suppose. So the first one we've got here is kind of the pondering Kevin. He's kind of, it's very much the thinking man's Kevin James, this image, and for me it's not maybe a top tier one, but it's one of the ones where you don't see very often. Usually Kevin James is very bombastic, he's out loud, he's outlandish, but this one he's kind of, pondering. He's almost like Plato, not the thing, the guy. I'm so enamored with this image, I actually crossed my legs and started pondering myself about what he's thinking about. What goes through the mind of a man like Kevin James? And I don't think that can be answered, not even through science. I hope one day he, donates his brain when he dies, hopefully in a millennia time. But until then, we'll just have to guess. But for me, I think I'm going to say it's a Go Kevin Go. I think it's kind of around the middle. And this next one we've got, it's kind of like a bit cheeky. But he's kind of got that, he's kind of got his hands posed in a very particular way. It kind of reminds me of like a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night. A night that, you're not really supposed to go out for a beverage, but your friend messages you and go, hey, want to go to the pub for a couple? And you're kind of like, it's kind of like that cheeky, like, I shouldn't, but, you twisted my arm, you know what I mean? I think it's that kind of image. And I can really appreciate the cheekiness from my man KJ here. So I'm going to put it in I don't think it's quite the top tier, but it's definitely close. It's definitely a Blart Spectacular for me. Now this next one is, I believe, a King and Queen's photo shoot. And I got to say, it's the word iconic gets thrown around a lot, especially for the Chronically Online. But this really is iconic. Come on. You got Lena Remy, you got Kevin James in the same image. Both looking quite divine. For me, it's kind of the double, the double entente. You know what I'm saying? I think this has got to go. Possibly, it's very hard because I don't want to go into a Kevin Classic straight off the bat, but I feel the need to put it there because it is just look, you look at that image. If you were to first look at that image, and it may be the first time you've seen that image, did you not go, classic? That's something that you only see once in a lifetime. So for me, it's gonna go into the Kevin Classic. I think it's just, I mean, it's phenomenal. This next image is definitely the boys off a bean. You know what I mean? Like, look at that. That looks like an image you see at Glastonbury. They remind me of two English fellows just gurning on cat, possibly. You know what I mean? For me, this also might have to be a Kevin Classic. I know I might be being generous and biased, and you know, that's okay. We're on my channel and it's my terms, so I will be biased. But for me, I think it's got to be a Kevin Classic. From now on, I'll try and be a bit more conservative with the Kevin Classics, but those two I think are Kevin Classics. Let's just be clear, right? Now, this next image was, you know, it's one of those things you question and go, what's happening? Like, I know it's at the US Open, but why has he got the two big tennis balls? Obviously, again, he's at the US Open, but who went, yeah, take these. You know, don't just take a photo in front of the backdrop. Take these tennis balls and just do something with them, Kevin. Do something. Go Kev. You know, go Kev. Go Kev. You know, it's not one of my favourites. It does have me questioning, but it's not one of my favourites. I don't know if it'd be like, I don't know if it's go Kevin go quite, because I feel like you'd see Kevin James do this a lot with, like, you know, people just hand him props to take photos with. I feel like this is something you'd see, like, especially in that 47,000, you know, photo album. I think you'd see a lot of these kind of outlandish holding prop ones. So I'm gonna go, you know, it might be harsh, but I'm gonna go can do better, Kevin. What I see here is, remember when The Little Mermaid came out, the new one? When the video of all the little black girls seeing the Little Mermaid trailer for the first time, and like there were people like they'd comment on it, they'd be like, "This is for them. This is the reason why they've," you know what I mean? This reminds me of that, but it's for mall cops. This is like a hero's welcome of mall cops going, "I feel seen. I feel heard." This is a historical moment in our society where we can move forward, where I feel respected now because there has been a movie that features someone like me. And I think that is similar to what we saw with The Little Mermaid. I think that this is kind of The Little Mermaid before The Little Mermaid got made. That's a lot of saying made in one sentence. That's a bit of a tongue twister. But I feel like, yeah, this is one of those moments that kind of brings a tear to your eye and you go, wow. I mean, the human race, we can do so many great things. We can show people that you are seen and heard. I think that this image has got to go into a Kevin Classic again. And I know I said I was going to be a bit more conservative, but building it up as I have, I feel I need to put it in Kevin Classic. I think I put it ahead of the Gurn brothers, but I'll put it behind KJ and Remy. Now, this next one reminds me of me taking a photo. Really awkward, you know, funny kind of stance, kind of your arms out here. For me, it's a pretty funny image, but is it one of the three that we've talked about being in the Kevin Classic? Is it a Blart Spectacular? I don't know. I wouldn't go as far to say that. I think, you know, I might change my mind, but I feel like this can go in the Go Kevin Go. I feel like you'd see a lot of these images of him kind of looking like kind of awkward, kind of stance, you know, kind of, you know, sleeper build, get me into the arena type deal. So I think I think Go Kevin Go should be, I think that's good. So this next one, it seems that it's possibly KJ giving a really impassioned, you know, speech about possibly civil rights. I mean, I don't know, but it seems like that could be it. Human rights. I'm a human too, bro, you know? Like, you can see the vein kind of in his neck. He's kind of, you know, really giving it. So I'm going to say, because this could be maybe on par with, you know, the great speeches, MLK, Winston Churchill. Think of those speeches, and I think you could put that up there with those. Both rallying cries, really, of people, and I feel like this is the same here. This has to go, because I don't think you'd see much of him giving impassioned speeches like this, only when he feels the need to. So I think this has to go in a Blart Spectacular. Now, this next one's not even Kevin James. I mean, I don't know how it snuck into the thousands and thousands of photos of Kevin James, and it's not even him. So for me, I think this might have to be a Pixels moment. It's kind of funny that this was in there, even though it's not Kevin James. It's obviously a co-star of his. Might be his brother. I don't know. I didn't look it up. I'm going to have to put this in Pixels, purely because, yes, it is funny that it was in there, but it's not him. You know, I'm going to get this one out of the way now. The green shirt, the shrugging, the kind of, you know, obviously a classic. It's got to go up in Kevin Classic. I think it's got to be number one. What it started, I think it has to be number one. It has to be up there. So this next one's a bit strange. We've got one of the Madden brothers. We've got Kevin James in a fedora. And we've got Dana White, which, I mean, it's a very eclectic group of fellas. I think for this one, you got to put it in probably, just because it's something you wouldn't see often, I think Go Kevin Go, I think, is the proper spot to put it, just in front of the awkward Kevin. I'm putting it here mainly just because you don't see it often. Usually he's with the other lads, you know, the Adam Sandlers of the world. This next one's a classic. I mean, we got Don Cheadle, we got Adam Sandler. You know, seeing this does nothing more than warm my heart. It makes me almost sob. So seeing these guys just hanging about, having a laugh, I imagine, you know, swinging some clubs at some balls, as you do at golf. I'm going to put this in Kevin Classic. I think it's got to go second because, I mean, what's more of a classic Kevin move than having a photo with the lads? Not much to say about this next one. It's just kind of Kevin, you know, just kind of, he's just chilling. He's just kind of standing there, just posing, really. There's no kind of outlandish thing that's happening. It's not something you wouldn't see from him. I think I'll have to put this one, for me, I'll have to put this one in Can Do Better, Kevin. This one, it seems that Kevin's acting like some blood-sucking insect. Well, I'm hoping that's his wife. It'd be kind of weird if it wasn't, but I'm going to guess that it is or was his wife. Assuming. I don't want to assume. It makes an ass out of you and me, but I'm just going to go with that assumption. It's definitely an interesting one. It's one like we've never seen. A little bit aggressive, if I'm honest. It's an aggressive photo. Let's be real. He's got the backwards golfer hat, as I like to call it. Kind of shows the emotional range of Kevin, I feel. You know, he's showing his love and affection for what I assume is his wife in quite that aggressive kind of primal way. So I think I'm going to put this up with the Blart Spectacular. That's for me is where it should go. This next one could be seen as a Glastonbury classic for me. You know, he's got the bucket hat that is way too small for his head. That's a child's bucket hat. It's, you know, baby's first festival. You know, you see, I've seen a few with him wearing a bucket hat. So it's not out of the ordinary for him. It's funny to wear that to a premiere, I suppose. So for me, the really small bucket hat on his huge head. I'm gonna put it in Go Kevin Go. It's decent. It's not up there with the best, but it's pretty decent, you know. This next one, he's really, the emotion of it is, hey, are you seeing this? What's going on here? What, are you seeing this shit? And it's something that we haven't seen in the images so far. It's a little bit unique in that way. It's kind of different to a lot of the other ones. There's been a lot of, you know, passion. There's been a lot of happiness. There's been a lot of kind of cheekiness, you know. There's been a bit of tomfoolery even. And some thoughtfulness in there, just to round it out. But this one's kind of showing off a more, like, kind of aggressive, you know. What's this? This garbage bag? Not up to my standard, you know what I mean? I don't think it's as good as the three in the Blart Spectacular, but I think it's good enough to be above the bottom three and Go Kevin Go. And now this one seems like a classic. This is a classic, I think, and I don't know, I just love it. If I could get this as like a painting or some type of something I could just put on the wall, I would, because it kind of reminds me of the dogs playing poker. And it's something you wouldn't want to do when you're playing poker. You wouldn't want to go looking at a hand and going. So I think it's not quite Kevin Classic. It's definitely close. I'm going to put it above the kind of the cheeky Kevin. Now down to the last two, I'm going to be quick with these ones because I feel like they're kind of, you know, they're not top tier and there doesn't need to be much description and thought put behind why I'm putting them where they're gonna go. The first one is him kind of standing at a car, there's a little bit bit of cheek in his eye, I feel. You know, there's a little bit of something. He's got the mustache going. It's fine. We've seen some better ones. I'm going to put it above the black shirt Kevin James posing, but I'm going to put it in Can Do Better Kevin. Last but not least, it's a nice smiling Kevin, again with the golf hat on, which isn't unlike what we've seen before. You know, it's a phenomenal photo still, but for me, I think we have to look at it and go, yeah, it's not that great. It's fine. It's nothing special. Probably you Can Do Better Kevin, to be honest. That's it. That's all. I'm done. Kevin James brings me joy, and he's been part of the channel for a long time, so it's been good to be able to do this. I'm finished. I'm done. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.
I love Shifty Drongo. Shifty Drongo.